When someone makes a statement their startup is worth X million dollars, it leaves you wondering that how did they even arrive at that number? I can tell you that it's not magic. It's maths mixed with educated guessing. Welcome to VC Decoded, post number 5, where I break down the actual methods venture capitalists use to determine startup valuations. Let's start with the most popular method, which is the VC method. Developed by Harvard's Bill Salmon in 1987, this works backward from exit. Here's how it works. Step 1, estimate exit value. Let's say $100 million dollars in 5 years based on market size and comparable exits. In the next step, apply required return. VCs typically need 25 to 50% annual returns, which translates to about 10x their money over 5 years, followed by discounting back to present value. So 100 million gets divided by 10 equals $10 million today. And so the next step will involve determining ownership percentage needed for their investment. But that's just one approach. Now, if we look at another method, which is called the comparable company analysis, this is more like real estate comps, but for startups. Now, find 3 to 5 companies at the same stage in similar markets. A biotech AI company might look at other Series A biotech companies and other AI companies, and ideally other biotech AI companies. Adjust for differences in team experience, market size, and traction metrics. Apply all the weighted average. And if similar companies raised at 8 to $12 million, probably in that range. The next method that I'm going to talk about is the Burkus method, created by super angel Dave Burkus. This is specifically designed for pre revenue companies where traditional financial metrics don't work. It assigns monetary value at risk reduction across 5 categories. Sound idea reduces market risk up to $500,000. Working prototype reduces technology risk up to $500,000. Quality management team reduces execution risk up to $500,000. Strategic partnerships reduce competitive risk, again up to $500,000. Product rollout or early sales reduces financial risk up to about $500,000. Maximum possible valuation becomes $2.5 million. So that's the Burkus method. Now, the next method is risk factor summation method. Here, you start with the average pre money valuation for pre revenue companies in your industry, then systematically adjust up or down based on 12 risk factors. And these risk factors are management risk, stage of business, legislation and political risk, manufacturing risk, if any, sales and marketing risk, funding and capital raising risk, competition risk, technology stack risk, litigation risk, international risk, reputation risk, and potential lucrative exit. Each factor gets rated from -2 to +2. Each point adjusts the valuation by about $250,000 in either direction. So that's how you arrive at the valuation with this method. Now, method number 5 is the revenue multiples method, but this only works for companies with meaningful revenue. Different industries have different standard multiples. SaaS companies have 8 to 15 times annual recurring revenue. Marketplaces are having multiples of 3 to 8 times annual revenue. E-commerce would have 2 to 5 times annual revenue. Hardware companies would have about 1 to 3 times the annual revenue. Now, in 2025, AI companies are commanding premium multiples of about 20x to 30x revenue because investors believe AI will fundamentally transform many other businesses which are very core to the use case currently, and also all of the adjacencies. But here's what's fascinating about all of this. Most VCs don't just use one method. They will run 2 or 3 of these approaches and see where they converge and get maximal value for themselves as well as the founders. Now, An example of that would be AI startup with about $1 million annual recurring revenue seeking $10 million. Now, in VC method, assuming about $200 million exit in 5 years divided by 10x return requirement will equal $20 million valuation. Now, in the same scenario, if I apply revenue multiple, then 1 million times 15x typical SaaS multiple equals $15 million. But with AI premium, that same valuation of 15 million may become $25 million. If I use a comparable analysis method, then similar AI companies raising at about 12 to $18 million, and the final negotiated valuation might land at around $16 million, somewhere in the middle of these ranges. Now, here's the part that business schools don't teach you. All of these methods are just starting points for negotiation. The final valuation really depends on market conditions, how much equity the VC wants, which is typically in the range of 20 to 25%, and how many other investors are competing for the deal, and frankly, how much they like the founders personally. I have seen identical companies get valuations that differ by 50% based purely on timing and negotiation dynamics. And so the truth is that there is no correct valuation or one single valuation for early stage companies. These methods provide frameworks for educated guessing only, but the ultimately a market decides what something is worth based on what someone is willing to pay, really. So understanding these methods isn't just useful for founders. If you are an investor, you need these tools to justify your decisions. And if you're thinking of about joining a startup, understanding their valuation really helps you evaluate your equity package, so on and so forth. uh, and if you're just really curious about how the startup world works, these methods explain why some companies that seem very similar can have vastly different valuations. Next week, I'll definitely discuss the dilution piece as to why every founding round makes you own less of your company, but hopefully makes your smaller size worth significantly more. Stay hooked and follow me for more such insights. Thank you.